Today's podcast is brought to you by Body Armor. Drink BodyArmor.com. Only you can be better. You're listening to EPPN's Today with DW, the Sports Edition.
James Harden wouldn't go to the game wearing outdated fashion, so why would he choose an outdated sports drink?
I wouldn't.
He wouldn't. This is Body Armor. More natural, more electrolytes, better sports drink. Thanks, Gatorade. We'll take it from here.
It's playoff time at the NFL, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday night special sports edition. Holy shit, what a goddamn fucking awesome football weekend. I am swearing. YouTube's probably going to ban me for the ESPN and whatnot, but I don't care. What a crazy weekend. We're just going to get right into it. Usually we try to talk about a little bit about what's going on in this past week because the three of us, Mr. Tom Greer, Mr. Snacks, we haven't really talked, but holy crap. Holy crap. What I got to say, and I'll let you guys talk, but I was excited for the first time in playoff history. This past weekend's game, the Browns, Kansas City, just the Bills. I mean, I was actually excited like I was when I was a little kid. I don't know about you guys, but no matter who won or lost, I thought the games, some people say they were boring, but we've seen teams that have never been in the playoffs like this, Bills and the Browns. I just thought it was an amazing weekend. Give you your thoughts. Snacks, what do you think? I mean, I just thought it was great.
I thought it was some great games. I thought the Browns were going to pull it out and
Me
wind
too.
up winning that game.
Yeah.
No, I
mean,
mean,
they
I
made
thought,
a game of it.
Yeah, well, they did. I mean, like I thought the second, obviously, everybody else did. When Pat Mahomes went down, everybody was thinking the Browns are going to come back and just win this game. But I mean,
they had a chance. They really had a chance.
They did have a chance. I mean, like Higgins is probably going to find himself cut because he's pretty much the reason that the Browns lost, fumbling out of the back of the end zone. But I mean. That was bad. That's probably everybody was saying on Twitter that that's like the worst rule in football, but like because it is. But that really just ruined the.
It is.
But
how about?
Game.
I mean, the helmet shot. Even I mean that when that happened, I was like, oh, they're gonna call it.
Yeah,
and then they say it's non-reviewable, but the officials have to have some sort of a call when they're going to review that to see that the ball was out. They see that the penalty occurred, and that's what they're trying to do with all the not having the running on the kickoffs.
Yeah.
The helmet-to-helmet shots, the defensive player. So they're trying to do all that stuff, but why can't you make that call?
Well,
I mean, that's what I don't.
Well, they were saying because that's not part of the reviewable stuff. Like the part like wherever they go helmet to helmet isn't something that they could just determine with replay or with review. Even though
but he led with the crown. He led with the crown of his helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
He put his head right down. Yeah. And put it right into the side of his head.
But I will say, what you were saying before, I will say, like, not all the games. I didn't feel like all the games were all that like enjoyable. Like the Packer game was kind of fun to watch. The Saints Bucks game was pretty good for a little while. The Raven Buffalo game. I mean, I'm happy Buffalo won because I just I want to see Buffalo move on. But I feel like that game wasn't crazy entertaining.
I agree with you as far as the games themselves, but seeing these matchups, which we've never seen before, that was entertaining for me. Granted, the Ravens, we talked about this last week. I did not think the Ravens were just gonna, no pun intended, drop the ball and just. I was like, holy crap! But again, we talked about playoff time where it's different mentality. Each team, the players have different mentality, and I've always stated, and I think all of us agreed, it became experience over passion. But I'm sorry, the Bills don't have the experience in playoffs, but their passion and their drive. Yeah. I'm sorry, they busted ass. There's no question about it. They are the eye of the tiger without being kind of sounding cheeky or not. But these guys are like, we're fucking taking this game and we're going for it. I mean, I've never seen a team that was least experienced in playoffs take control of a game so quick. I don't know. I'm always just excited to see the matchups. I really am.
There was a third opponent in that game. It was called the Wind.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that Wind. Everybody watches the flags on the top of the poles, but if you're watching that game really close, the poles of the uprights were going around. They were nonstop moving, and I'm just going, oh, there's no way. And then when he kicked the first doink, and then he kicked the second doink, I was like, you missed it on that side, and then you missed it on that side.
And that's Justin Tucker too. That's like the best kicker in football.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Welcome, Judd. Welcome, Rob. What's going on, Timmy? Timmy, we might be able to have this Kansas City Packers football Super Bowl that you predicted. We'll see what happens.
I don't know, man. I don't know if we're gonna get to predictions at some point, but I really think it's gonna wind up being Bills versus Bucks, double B's.
Yeah, I'm sure Hank is really happy with that. He's gonna tell you to mail that thing you got back in your mailbox. Be like, mail that back home. Don't even bother opening it. Send that shit back.
Hey man, the Bucks didn't look terrible. I mean, like they didn't look great, but they definitely didn't look
strong. I'll be honest with you.
They lost that game because they were given 4 turnovers.
Yes, agreed. Totally agreed.
The only reason that they won that game. They won that game because they were given the ball 4 times, and you can't give another team. I think that they would have wound up winning that game.
I think so too.
Saints.
I think so too.
I agree with you. The Bucks have, but I think that's just a testament to the Bucks having a good defense. You know, like
Brady even said, he goes, well, our first time we had 3 turnovers and they beat us. So he understands all about turnovers. So in the regular season, my thing is, I put it out on a post saying, "Hey, and it was funny. I go, just so everybody knows, I'm a Pats fan, not a Brady fan. So go Saints." Brady did not look strong. He looked like an average Brady. Nothing outstanding. Nothing spectacular.
Well, because they just ran the ball down.
Their plays were decent, but I really don't know. I feel Kansas City is going to beat them. I don't think there's. Not that there's not a chance. Again, we're going into playoffs. Now, you have a whole entire team that has no playoff experience compared to Brady. So how do we put this? Now, we did just say that passion does make a difference sometimes. Look at the Bills. But you got a quarterback who's been in the playoffs for how many times and how many Super Bowl rings, and then you have the rest of the team. There's mentality there. It's different. Everything's on the line. It's not like we lose one game. Okay, we can make it up and we can still make the playoffs. You win or lose. This is it. So I'm not really sure if that, and they've never gelled 100% throughout the entire season. I mean, again, it's playoffs. Who knows? But I'm taking Kansas City on this one.
Well, no, but I agree. I mean, like, I don't know. There's just something about the Bills that just make me feel like, especially if you don't know if Pat Mahomes is going to play, you know, like
true. That's true too. You're right.
I know I think I read something on Twitter saying that, Mahomes like passed one of the tests or like some sort of the test,
but he's passed 2 or 3 tests because of the concussion mandate now.
Concussion protocols. Yeah. Andy Reid probably would play him if he could play him, but he's got to pass those concussion protocols. If Chad Henne's the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs in the championship game, the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. The Bills are going to the Super Bowl for the first time in 30 years. Like that's happening.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he got watching that tackle and the way that guy's arm was around his neck, the way his head pinched. I think he got the blood flow to his head stopped because when he got up, he was wobbly.
He could have. Also, he missed.
I think he got knocked out from just lack of blood to the head because he
mistakenly got choked out. He got mistakenly choked out by the way the move was. Yeah,
because he did look like. Because I mean, like I hate those. I hate when the guys in the booth are like, "Oh, well, he looks out of it." It's like, "Are you a doctor? Can you tell me? Like, you on the field? You could tell me that the dude's out of it? Do you you're up in the box like a mile up in the sky? You know,
when 3-year linemen are picking you up off the ground and your legs are still
Oh,
wobbling.
yeah, no, he looked like a baby. He looked like a baby.
Tom, they see the screen we do, and I think they have more experience about being out of it than we do.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair. But no, I mean, like I said, if Pat Mahomes can't play, if he doesn't pass concussion protocols, then the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. If not, it'll be a game. But I think the Bills still have a good enough defense to pull it out regardless. You know,
Right.
They can make it a game.
On a side note, Tony Romo calling the shots for the team to play. Are you kidding me right now? You can go to freaking hell, Tony Romo.
I kept
I'm
saying,
like,
"Who's
really?
Tony Romo?"
That was like, that's a blooper reel right there. Just listening to him saying they should do this and they should be, was like, shut up. I was just like, don't bother.
Yeah, he's like a football fortune teller. He just likes to call out what plays are coming. He likes to like just dictate how games should go. I mean,
I like how he goes, I would have ran that. Or I would have ran this.
Yeah.
And,
they're
going to do this. I'm like,
and what team did you play for? And upset. All right,
how many times did you get this far? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like as much as I hate the Dallas Cowboys, Romo was probably the best quarterback they've had in years.
Not saying much. Yes,
I mean, I did not saying much.
Other than Sanchez, who ran into the back end of his freaking tackle.
That's fair. I guess that's fair.
So speaking of the Cowboys, so since you said the best quarterback, who would be the best quarterback for Dallas? Would we go all the way back to Roger Staubach?
I wasn't. I mean, I maybe, but I'm like, I wasn't even alive for that. Like the memories of
youngster.
Cowboy quarterbacks I remember are Drew Bledsoe, Tony Romo, and now Dak. You know, like I don't remember literally anybody.
Got to be Staubach, even with those three.
I don't even remember Aikman.
Yeah, Staubach or Aikman. It's got to be those two. I mean, there was an article.
I hate all of them, so it doesn't matter.
I was reading an article the other day. They were talking. Actually, it just came out, I think yesterday, where Jerry Rice came on and said he would take Montana 10 times over Brady.
But in what era though? But like I hate those conversations because I like in this era I'm still taking Tom Brady because he's lethal.
In the era. Yeah. Oh yeah, within the eras.
Well, the dude's 42. Right. What is he? 42 years old and he's still 43, 42, 43 and he's in the NFC Championship game.
So that brings up we've talked about this on the sports show before we get into today's show. That actually brings up a good thing where we talk about who's the best basketball player. You turn around, it's Kobe, whoever, and Jordan. Jordan will always come up in every conversation. Maybe down the road, depending on your age, you'll say Larry Bird. The game has changed so much from when Jordan played to when players now. Putting, let's say, Montana compared to Brady, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Snacks, because obviously you're in it more than the two of us put together. Has the game changed so much where Montana couldn't put up the same numbers and if not beat Brady?
If you had Dan Marino, Joe Montana in today's era to where they could play longer and not take the hits that they took back then, they would be right up there. And if you took Tom Brady and put him back in that era where he was taking the shots, he wouldn't be playing that long.
So are you saying that the defensive line wasn't as strong back then as it is now?
No, the hits were just so much.
Yeah, the quarterback
hit the quarterback. I mean, you could take and hit the quarterback in the legs and have somebody grab him up top as you're grabbing his legs. You could have two guys hitting him high and low. You can't do that now. As soon as you do that, it's a flag. You touch his helmet. I mean, look at I remember back to, Terry Bradshaw and Staubach. Those guys took shots to the head.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were taking legitimate shots. I mean, remember
I think Terry Bradshaw's still out of it.
Lambert and Mean Joe Green and those guys. If they would, when they want to hit Staubach and that Steelers Cowboys, that was the big rivalry back then. You go and you hit him, they were hitting him in the head. I mean, they were coming up elbows to the side of the neck. You do that to Brady, he's folding up like a fortune cookie.
Yeah. Oh my God! I mean, he folds up.
It's an era difference, and that's the thing.
When there's somebody 3 feet away from him before he gets hit.
Yeah, but he gets hit in the leg and he looks at the official and points. I mean, like when he scored that touchdown the other day, he turns around, he walks over and goes to get the freaking.
That was the best.
Official.
That was so
I know, and the official's
funny.
like looking at him like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Later, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
But I mean, like, I agree with you. Like, if you put Brady back in the day when Montana and Marino played, he might not have put up the same numbers. But I'm not just going to say that if you took Joe Montana and Dan Marino and put them in this generation, that they'd be better than Brady. Like, they might just be all on equal playing field or on the same level. Because like just because Brady's from an easier era, I'm not gonna just cut him I'm not gonna cut him some slack. Like the dude's put up insane numbers and is playing a really violent sport into his early 40s. Like that's still crazy.
I'm not discrediting Brady. I'm giving props more to the past quarterbacks, only for the fact that we've talked about this going that the game basketball has changed so much that would Jordan still be as good as he was back then? I don't think so because the game has changed so much. But again, Jordan is one that adapts. Where back in football, the only thing that's really changed is the lack of hitting. I mean, crap, who was the dirtiest football team in the NFL for years? The Raiders. When they hit you, your whole team felt it. I mean, they were just nasty hard. I mean, when they hit you, they made a purpose to hit you and wanted you not to get up. Obviously, you can't do that now in the NFL the way it is with the rules and everything. But I think with Montana and sadly Marino, as good as he was, the poor guy didn't have a great team around him for so many years. But I think they would be right up there, and they'd probably keep. I think they'd surpass Brady's numbers. And of course, this is all subject to opinion and whatnot, because we'll never really know. But I think they'd surpass Brady in those numbers. Those guys, not that Brady's not talented. He is the greatest quarterback there is. But I think Montana and Martino would be, Marino would be huge right now. With the new
I'm not doubting that they'd be huge, just because we're in an age where quarterbacks can benefit from everything. Like Hank was saying, like you can't really hit quarterbacks anymore. So yeah, no, definitely. If you took Dan Marino and Joe Montana and threw them into 2010 or 2020, 2020, 2021, they'd probably be up there with the top quarterbacks in the league. But I mean, like, I don't think that doesn't really
the evolution anyway. Right. And the evolution of the game has changed. The rules, they're adding rules here and there and everything, but the evolution of the game. I mean, it's now you're watching guys that are running wildcats and they're running slip screens and they're running the slot across the middle. Back day, if you did that, if you ran a slot across the middle and Jack Lambert sitting back there from the Pittsburgh Steelers or one of those guys, they're standing there, they're going, yeah, okay. They're licking their chops. They want that little guy across because they're going to drill him because you could make contact with him. Now you can't make contact.
They jack him right out of his shoes.
Oh. I like I said, I'm not knocking Brady. I'm just saying that it's different eras in which they played.
That's why you can't really compare them. Right. It's almost like playing two different sports.
If you put them then and you put these guys there back down in these days, they would probably be very equal. I mean, they would have played a lot longer. I think you would have seen Joe Montana and Elway. I mean, there's another one. There's Elway. Those guys, I mean, they took shots.
Oh, totally. But I think if you went vice versa, like where you're saying that they would last longer, they would like have a longer career if you put them now. Like I bet you if you had put Brady or some of the big quarterbacks from now back then, they would just be growing up and working the same way that Montana and Marino would. Yeah, the careers might not have been longer, but they might still put up like Hall of Fame numbers. Just it might be a little bit of a shorter career.
Brady can't take a hit, man. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is he would have been coming up in this NFL. Like he would have had the similar training and the similar like upbringing as a Montana, as a Marino. Like he'd be going through the same things that they did, so he's already got great quarterback talent as it is, like, is it far-fetched to say that if he had the same preparation that they did, that he wouldn't be still an amazing quarterback?
Oh, I mean, he's still be an amazing quarterback.
I agree. I think he'd still be good, but I don't know his career would be as long.
He wouldn't be playing. Well, no, if he was taking the beating that Montana and Marino did, he wouldn't be playing till he's 42. That wouldn't happen. No.
And I bet you he'd be out at least once or twice in his career with serious injuries. The man's fragile. Let's be honest. He's fragile.
Well, but is he though? Because I feel like he doesn't really get hurt a lot. Like in his career, I can really only think of
he falls down before he gets hit, dude. I mean, he also had one of the best.
But it doesn't matter as long as he's available. As long as he's available and is on the field every day. Dude, I know it. I was an Eli Manning fan. Eli Manning was the Iron Man of the NFL for years. Every week, the dude stepped on the field. Brady is, I mean, he's not the exact same, but he doesn't get hurt a lot,
Right, but you didn't have the dump-offs. You didn't have the plays back then where the quarterback would go back and all of a sudden he looks like he could feel the pressure of being sacked and he takes it and there's a receiver in there and he throws it to the ball. They did that. That was intentional grounding back then.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying is that the evolution of the game, the changes that they have done, it's all to protect the quarterback.
Football players have gotten soft. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm kidding.
Well, it's the longevity of it. It's a moneymaker.
Yeah, of course. I understand that. So before we get into today's show, what's your predictions, gentlemen, for this weekend's games?
Oh, I think the Bills are going to win, and I think the Bucks are going to win. I'm sorry, Hank.
It's all right. I'm going to say Packers and Bills.
Ooh, okay.
Nobody's
picking
like the
Kansas
Bucks.
City. So you're relying all on Holmes coming on that field.
And when that happens, I will be sleeping in a separate bedroom for a week. Almost 2.
You can sleep over at my house, Hank.
because the wife is a Bills fan.
Oh,
yes.
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh boy.
No, the thing is though, it's like I think this Kansas City has looked beatable, and I think that the Bills just look like one of those. The Bills just look like one of those teams that is just really hot right now, and is just going to get to if Pat Mahomes even plays, they're still going to be able to get to him, and that's going to be a problem because he was like even before the concussion, Mahomes was limping around the field all day against Cleveland.
And Brown showed that Kansas City is not what I want to say, not that strong. I was going to come up with something better, but they can be beaten. I mean, Browns didn't beat them, but man, they gave them a real good run for their money. And as a Browns franchise, they should not be. I hope they're not disappointed. Obviously, they're disappointed because they're not making it farther. But wow, they proved themselves this year. And it's been how many years since they've made it this far in the playoffs, if at all. So. Yeah, kudos to them. And they showed that Kansas City could be defeated. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
Yep.
All right, let's get into today's show. We talked about the Saints losing, which I'm really sad about. Bills are definitely on fire, and we'll talk more about that. How does Belichick feel about not being in the playoffs, seeing his star quarterback, who he let go? Obviously, it was mutual. We could get more into that later. While he's sitting on the sidelines eating his popcorn in his dirty sweatshirt, how does he feel? All that and more when we come back. It's the NFL edition.
Hello, I'm Baker Mayfield.
I'm Anthony Rizzo.
I'm Donovan Mitchell.
I'm Diana Taurasi.
I'm Ryan Blaney.
And I have something to confess.
I had a formidable Beanie Baby collection.
I used to say YOLO a lot.
I paid a lot of money for ringtones.
I had a sick flowing mullet one time.
My Cabbage Patch Kid's name was Dolores.
I used to rock bleached tips.
I used to rank my friends on MySpace.
I rented movies at Blockbuster.
I used to wear jorts. That's right, jean shorts.
I used to drink Gatorade.
Yeah, I used to drink Gatorade.
We all used to drink it.
It was the only sports drink out there.
Now there's Body Armor.
I drink Body Armor now.
I drink Body Armor now.
I'm Team Body Armor now.
Welcome back to the Tuesday night edition of Today with DW. It is the sports edition, the NFL, pretty much almost the NFL edition every day.
It's almost like when baseball is going to start.
Yeah, I know. And then it's going to be the MLB. And then it's going to be the MLB edition every
more months,
day.
boys. Couple more months.
Yeah,
next month, pitches and catches report.
I think we're going to take the summer off.
Fine. I'll do my own Mets podcast. Jeez.
You and Uncle Steve are the only ones watching. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I was big enough to get Uncle Stevie on a show.
We could make that happen. Yeah. We will make that happen. That is our goal for 2021, to get Uncle Stevie on our small little podcast.
Oh man.
You know what? I wouldn't want him on there because you'd just be drooling over your mic and not saying a word.
I probably would. That's the dude.
You get that cootieritis.
Yeah,
I wish I was wearing my shirt. I forgot at my parents' house.
Oh man,
it's a shirt that he's got a crown on. It's awesome.
Nice. All right. Welcome, SF. What's going on, Judd? What's going on, my friend? So, somebody in the sports field seems to have a problem with their DMs, just like Armie Hammer with his DMs. But hopefully, this particular person is not a cannibal like Armie Hammer is. Jared Porter was fired as the general manager of the New York Mets on Tuesday. Where's my? Do I have my awe? I don't have. I don't have my awe. So we'll just do this. There you go. Tuesday morning, after hours acknowledging in a report by ESPN's Mina Keems and Jeff Passan that he sent unsolicited. Aren't they all unsolicited in a way? Sexually explicit images to a female reporter while employed by the Chicago Cubs as director of pro scouting in 2016. An explicit image was the final message in a string of 62 unanswered texts. All right, so this is the sports edition, but gentlemen, let's have a moment. Let's talk.
Yes.
After 5 and you don't get a response, and you still keep going with dick pics? Are you needy? What's the matter with you? Do you have a problem? Do you have mom issues? Do you have dad issues? Do you need a hug? 62? Come on. I think that might be.
I don't think all 62 were dick pics though from the article. I think it's just 62. Like it was 62 messages that were just very sexually aggressive.
Yes, I know. I understand.
With a dick pic or two thrown in there.
I understand.
But yeah, no, you're right. 62. Like
that's overkill.
Like
Yeah,
I mean, like
think-
if somebody doesn't answer after 2 messages, I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is done. So
first off, if you're, and obviously he must have had somewhat, before I get further in the report, must have some, and this is not saying the Me Too movement, and I'm not saying that she warranted these pictures, but there must have been some type of report. I understand that some men are very aggressive and be like, after the fact of, hey, hi, how are you? Maybe we can go out for coffee. And then there's like, all of a sudden there's the dick pic in your DM. That's your announcement when you get it. There had to be something there. Not that she still warrants these messages. So for him to, let's listen, everybody sent a dick pic now and then, whatever. If I did send one and I didn't get a response, I'd be embarrassed and just like, okay, the only thing I might send is, oops, my thumb, I slipped. That shouldn't have been for you. Kind of cover it up. But that was my thumb.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like you're just playing with fire anytime you just try to use it. Like, I don't know. It is just, this dude just seems like a mega just creep of a human being.
And that could be too. I mean, we might be giving him a little bit of credit here. Maybe he just didn't care and he wasn't taking no for an answer. And he just
that's what I think. Personally, just from because I heard this story broke like as I was walking out from recording GHR last night. I was in the car just listening to the radio at like freaking 10:30 at night when the story broke. And I think they shared some of the messages or the articles and stuff like that. And this dude, Jared Porter, just sounds like an absolute creep. What's really bad is it looks like the Cubs might have known about it, and that's not great.
Well, we'll get more into this. Announcement from Uncle Steve Cohen. We have terminated Jared Porter this morning. He announced on Twitter. In my initial press conference, I spoke about the importance of integrity, and I meant it. Uncle Stevie's not fucking around. There should be zero tolerance for this type of behavior in anything in life, not just sports, just overall. Porter met the woman in a Yankee Stadium elevator in 20. This sounds like a penthouse forum right here. I met this woman in the elevator as we were going down. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry. In June 2016, and asked her 3 times to get a drink before the day was over, according to Kimes and Passon. She eventually stopped responding. So she did respond, but he was too, obviously, it sounds like he was just too aggressive. Yeah, she stopped responding to his text messages, but Porter continued to text her anyway, including sending images. Here's more from a guy who obtained screenshots of these messages. Reached out by ESPN on Monday morning. Porter acknowledged texting with the woman. He initially said he had not sent any pictures of himself. Yeah, of course. When told the exchanges show he had sent selfies and other pictures, he said that the more explicit ones are not of me. So first off, so now you're giving false dick pics. What, are you embarrassed? I mean, stand up for yourself. If you show it. I'm kidding. Okay. Those are kind of joke stock images. Okay. First off, I want to go to Shutterstock or Photo Bucket and see if those are really joke stock images, because I'm sure there's no dick pics or any other things or anything else that are joke.
Why do you just have random? Why do you
have them on there on your camera reel? Do you send them to every other woman that you're talking to? Anyway, after asking whether ESPN was planning to run a story, he asked for more time before later declining further comment. Mets president Sandy Alderson released a statement Monday and said the team will review the facts regarding this serious issue. And here is his full statement. I spoke directly with Jared Porter regarding events that took place in 2016, of which we were made aware tonight for the first time. Jared has acknowledged to me his serious error in judgment. No shit, really? 62 times? You finally realized that you made an error in judgment after 62? How about 2, asshole?
After the 61st, he figured it out.
Yeah. Oops, too late. He has taken responsibility for his conduct. No kidding. How can he not take responsibility for his conduct? He got fired. Jesus. He has expressed remorse and has previously apologized for his actions. Did he apologize to the woman? That is not stated. Mets take these matters seriously, except professional and ethical behavior from all of their. They expect professional and ethical behavior from all their employees, and certainly do not condone the conduct described in this story. We will follow up as we review the facts regarding this serious issue. The woman, who was a foreign correspondent living in the U.S. to cover baseball, told Crimes in Passing that Porter's abusive actions were a tipping point in her decision to leave the industry. Ooh. I started to ask myself, why do I have to put myself through these situations to earn a living? This becomes an issue. Obviously, we are the sports edition, but this is so she's using, I shouldn't say, excuse me. After these actions, she has left the sports field or the baseball field because of this. This is more than a dick pic. Then there's definitely, obviously, some, I'm sure, as Tom stated, there's definitely some really aggressive or detailed text messaging. I want to do this to you. You're going to do this. We're going to do this kind of thing. And he did not give up. For somebody to leave the field that they love doing, this is serious. This goes beyond firing. And obviously she could press charges, which I don't think she's going to do. But this is no joke. And again, I joked about the dick pics, but this is a serious thing. And I think it's men in this era right now that don't seem to care or have any repercussions. And we've all called them keyboard warriors when they're, blasting out on emails or Facebook and talking. This is kind of the same thing. Like there's no repercussions. Ooh, one click, I send a dick pic. One click, ooh, I send this. There's no repercussions. There's no face-to-face contact. There's like, oh, whatever. What is she going to do? Or what is he going to do? So I hope they make a huge example of him. I really do. By more than just firing him.
Well, I think it's mostly going to be like that. Like I don't see him getting another job in baseball. Like how do you recover from that? Especially getting such a high profile job like you did with the Mets in one of the biggest markets in all of the country, in the world. And then this winds up coming out. Like your career is for the most part ruined. This dude's life is ruined. Right?
Did he recently just do this? That's where I'm confused.
No, 2016.
Yeah. Well, apparently, allegedly, ESPN had this story back then, but they wanted to keep it under wraps because in respects to the victim, because the victim still had a position in baseball, but the victim has since left baseball and is like, well, now let's just let this be out because now I want this creep to have to pay for what he did. And that's what happened. So this happened a while ago.
So he was just hired as the Mets GM?
He was just hired as the Mets GM. Nobody knew about any of this.
This news broke.
And then this news broke, yeah.
But it didn't come from her. Supposedly, she is not the one that came out first with this. She's already left the industry. So,
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like ESPN had this story already. Like they've had this news before. They just didn't say anything because this reporter was still working in baseball, and they didn't want to, put her.
So when did the reporter leave baseball though?
Did it say in the article? I don't remember.
It did not say when she left.
It just, I don't know. Like I said, it's wrong. First of all, let's put it that way. It's wrong what he did. I don't know what it is nowadays. I would have never done anything like that. But the fact of the matter is that it's just weird that the guy just gets the job and then this news breaks.
Well, obviously Porter. Obviously, we'll see what happens with him. But Mr. Cohen doesn't seem to be so squeaky clean either. Cohen was also recently accused of using vulgar language toward female employees and fostering a culture of sexism at his hedge fund in a gender discrimination complaint obtained by the New York Times. Cohen's investment firm was also accused of hostility toward women in 2018. Now, you know what? Right now, Uncle Stevie is the best thing that happened to the Mets. It's so hard now. One, obviously, he's stating that he's standing strong, and Porter need to. We're not going to deal with that. Are these reports real? Is this just the norm now? And he's making face. I mean, this isn't just Porter. This is not just Porter or Cohen. This is the state of what's going on in society now. Yeah. If this gets further, Uncle Stevie could be in deep shit no matter how much money he has. This could really hurt him. If you were going to fire the GM, well, maybe you shouldn't be the owner. And I'm not saying this is obviously alleged, and obviously this is just coming out through the New York Times, but it makes you wonder really what's going on. I mean, obviously baseball's a guy's sport. We know that. It's, the locker room talk, especially in football, whatnot. So I think things are going to change. I think we're going to see some major changes here, and there may be a sports Me Too movement. I don't know.
Totally. Well, I think you're going to absolutely. Well, I mean, I think things are going to change anyway, But I think the difference between this and like at least Steve Cohen and Jared Porter is Steve Cohen's is still like those are still allegations. Jared Porter admitted to this.
Yes,
like Jared
correct,
Porter,
correct.
like he said, "Yeah, I did this. Yeah, this happened." So like,
Correct.
There's really nothing else you could do from here. This isn't allegations. This isn't a maybe it happened, maybe it didn't happen. This is okay. This happened. What are we going to do now? And
Right.
I think the Mets did the best thing that they could. And literally, this happened at 10:30. The news broke at 10:30 last night, and they fired him immediately this morning. I think they probably fired him the same night.
There's
broke
no
the news
question
this morning.
Listen, do you think they would hesitate? There's no question when that comes out, whether alleged or not. You fired a guy. There's no question. Look at Armie Hammer I think he admitted by walking off a film. He admitted technically he pulled himself from a major movie that he was in with J-Lo and be like, okay, I'm out. What can you do?
He said it. Well, Armie Hammer said that it was because he was getting harassed and he had to go be with his family.
I know what he said. Yeah, what that
really means. What he really said was, "Damn, you guys figured out I like eating people, so I'm just going to leave this movie for a while." That's what happened.
All by far. All right, moving on. Baltimore Ravens Lamar Jackson shouts out Bills Mafia for donating $360,000 to charity. Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson expressed his gratitude on Monday to the Buffalo Bills fan base, who's donated have reached over $360,000 to one of his favorite charities. Jackson wrote on Twitter, "Appreciate that Bills Mafia. It means a lot. Not only to me, but those kids as well. The outpouring of support to the blessings in a backpack Louisville chapter began Saturday night after the Bills 17-3 victory. Did you hear that? Hold on. Bills 17-3 victory over the Ravens in their AFC division playoff game, during which the reigning NFL MVP was ruled out late in the third quarter with a concussion." As of Monday, there have been 13,600 individuals donations from the Bills fans. That's awesome. It's funny how we go into the worst of the sports into some of the best of sports, where it doesn't matter what team you're on. You're going to give props where props due. Listen, I put out a video on Today with DW show podcast page on Facebook. So please give us a like over there if you're listening, of Brady and Breeze hugging it out, and Brady throwing the touchdown throw to one of Breeze's kids. That's what football is. I mean, I think Snacks could say the same thing. Back in the day, no matter what's going on the field, at the end of the day, you respect the other teammates. No matter, you can shit talk, you can do whatever. It's war on that field. But at the end of the day, it's like, all right, cool. You know what? You played a great game, high fives and whatnot.
There's some of the guys that I played against. I mean, we were on the field. We beat the living hell out of each other. And I run into them now, and we're like, it's like, and even back then when we played, we get done with the game, we realized that for 4 quarters we're enemies. I don't want to say we're enemies, but we beat the shit out of each other. We were there. Our goal was to win the game, and I sit there and say, listen, I'd shake guys' hands sometimes, or I wouldn't even say anything to them until at the end of the game. You didn't acknowledge them. You'd walk by and say something, hey, what's up? That's it about it. But when you lined up against each other, you wanted to beat the hell out of each other because that was your job.
Right.
And these guys, we're all human. And they do have compassion, and the fans, and there's fans that have compassion. What the Bills Mafia did for that speaks volumes. And it just shows you what kind of a class act. Yeah, you go to Buffalo and you watch a game as the opposing team, you're going to get hell for all 4 quarters, because they're going to, if you're in Buffalo, from what I heard, and I didn't go, I've got friends that have gone to those Buffalo Bill games that are fans of the other team, and they said they're brutal. You take your coat off and they see your, if you got a regular coat that has nothing on it, and you take that coat off, and all of a sudden you got, like Jack went out and said, I'm not going out there. He took his Colts off. He had a Colts jersey on, and he got ran as soon. And I guess it was Beth did the same thing. But it's during that time, yes, that's the aura that you're supposed to have. And what he did, like you said, with Breeze's kid throwing him a touchdown pass in the corner, they're friends. And Brady knew Breeze was retiring. He's already signed his contract to go, I think, CBS or NBC or somebody. Yeah. And he's going to go and commentate the games. Is he going to be gone for a while? Is he going to just do it for a year? I mean, who knows? Look at Jason Witten. Jason Witten went for a year and then turned around and came back out. Now he's playing for the Raiders. It's all who gets you to come out. and how you feel. You're like, you know what? I still got another year left. And I say it every time. I'm like, well, I'm only 54. I got another year. I get out there and do one thing, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, pick up the water bottle. Yeah, I hear you. How do you feel, Tom? I mean, I think. Do you feel the same that years past there's been better? Listen, we've seen basketball teams not shake hands and walk off the court. Obviously, back in the day, even Detroit did that with the Chicago Bulls, but they were the bad boys. But whatnot. I like seeing this. I think we need to see more of this in sports. Again, you're on the field, it's war. When you're off the field, I have to respect your play. How do you feel?
I don't know. I mean, I guess so. I guess it's like just like the good sportsmanship type stuff, like that is kind of cool. Cause like, I guess more, I don't know, this is more of my generation, I guess, but more of the players are just friends with each other on and off the field. So like, you don't really see those like hated rivalries that you used to do back in the day, So yeah, no, I feel like you're going to see this. I was just saying, I think the Bills fans might just be the best fans in football. Because this is the second time they've done something like this, or like it might even be more than the second time they did something like this. From when they donated Andy Dalton's charity, like a few years ago, when Andy Dalton and the Bengals beat the Ravens to put the Bills in the in the playoffs. So like the Bills fans have done this before. That's freaking awesome. I mean, it's good. It's good for the sport to see just like people being genuinely good human beings. But I just think that's the way football is now.
Jets fans should do something because they suck.
Well, they got a new coach now.
Jets fans got to like feel a little bit more positive, and then they'll start doing charitable things.
Shit, right?
They need a reason to be a little more positive.
Jets, Cowboys fans are probably the two worst that I feel. I've heard Patriots fan as well, but
Patriots fans are pretty bad. Patriots fans are pretty bad because they don't have bad
Patriots fans around here, so I don't know.
Wait, what happened?
I said we don't have bad Patriot fans around here per se.
But Herb, you don't know what a bad Patriot fan is because you are a Patriot fan. You don't understand.
No, I know what bad fans are.
You are a Patriots fan. Like
so you ain't gonna say it.
Like Cowboys fan.
I would say if there's a Patriots fan sitting in the bar, I would get stop for a minute. If there was a Patriots fan being a douche, like a Jets or a Cowboys fan, you're damn right. I would be more upset than that because I'm like, you're representing our team and you're being an asshole. How about you shut the hell up? I would definitely stand up for that. No, goddamn, don't disrespect my team by being a jerk.
2 years ago, I went out to watch a Patriots game. A buddy of mine who's a state trooper has got tickets. So we went out there, and he's 6'5", 6'6", big guy. So we're walking out after the Packers got beat. And we're walking out, and all I got my Rodgers jersey on, and all I could hear were these people, "Hey Rodgers, hey Rodgers." I'm just sitting there, I'm going, "Oh," and my buddy's standing there going, "Don't." I go, "Oh no," because there was a whole bunch of. I mean, and there were a lot of Packer fans there, but he just right on me because I got it over my sweatshirt. He's like, "Hey Rodgers." He Rodgers.
That's too funny.
That's very funny.
But again, I think this is nice to see. Hopefully, there's some light at the end of the tunnel for fans. And if anybody's listening and you are a douchebag fan, and if you don't know anybody that is a douchebag fan, maybe you are that douchebag fan. Moving on. Los Angeles Rams coach Sean McVay is vague about Jared Goff's future as quarterback. Oh boy. Sean McVay's words trailed off, but not before the Los Angeles Rams coach answered a pointed question about Jared Goff's status as the Rams quarterback. He stated, "Yeah, he's our quarterback," and that's about it. So doesn't sound so good for him. That was Saturday in the immediate aftermath of 32-18 divisional round playoff loss at the Green Bay Packers that ended the Rams season. On Sunday, during a final video conference with reporters before breaking off, Stephen McVay was asked to clarify his statement. Everything's being evaluated. Here's your diplomatic, your press release response. I'm not ready to make any sorts of statements with regards to anybody starting position or not. We're going to have a level of competition at everything that we do. Goff's $110 million guaranteed contract is pretty high for them. What do we think on this, gentlemen? Do we think he's done for this season? What do you think, Tom?
I mean, I don't think that they're gonna really get rid of Goff because what do you do? Like you can't just go especially with that defense because the defense isn't young. Like they're not old, but they're definitely not young. So you can't just go start with a new quarterback unless you're just planning on blowing everything up. Like how are you gonna go tell Aaron Donald, he's like the best defensive player in football? Yeah, we're gonna start over with a new quarterback. Like how do you do that? Especially when Jared Goff was in the Super Bowl like a few years ago. I don't think he's particularly good. I think Jared Goff is a bum.
Hold on. Sorry, hold on. We had some little bit hiccups. Go ahead. Replay what you just said. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying like I don't know. Like they have to stick with Jared Goff at this point just because like what are they gonna do? Like they can't restart with a new quarterback because their defense isn't young enough. You can't do that to Aaron Donald saying, hey, we're just going to restart with a new guy. And what are you going to do? Trade for somebody? Going to go trade for Matt Stafford or something like that? Like, what do you like? You're stuck with Jared Goff. You have to live with Jared Goff for now.
They're gonna stick with Goff because I'm going to tell you right now, Goff.
You think so?
Goff got them he's part of the reason why they got where they're at. And I mean,
Donald, not that good.
He's not, but he's got the right weapons around him that make him look good.
No, he's got a defense. He's got a defense that keeps him in games.
Joe Donaldson was hurt because he had somebody fall on his rib, so he had a hurt rib cage and he couldn't play. He couldn't really go in there, and that was comforting to me that he wasn't.
Thanks,
there.
Adam. It's good to see you.
But I'm saying like Jared Goff is an okay quarterback that has an amazing defense behind him. Like he's just got he doesn't have to win games. He's just got to not lose games. Like that's what Jared Goff is. You know, and I don't think he's worth the payday that the Rams gave him. You know, but unfortunately where they're at right now, they don't really have another option. What is your other option other than Jared Goff?
There isn't really another option out there. We're going to go after Johnny Manziel, who was picking on the Browns.
No, he's going to play in the it's a new league. It's called the You Play Football League or something like that. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No.
It's a football. I don't know if it's the same league, but I've seen it a few times on like social media last year. What it is it's a football league where people vote on what plays are going to happen. No. It's regular football, but you get an app on your phone and you vote what play they should run, and whichever play gets the most votes, they run that play. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So the couch coaches and the quarterback couch people are going to be loving this, huh?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what that is. But no, I mean, but back to your question, the Rams have to stick with Jared Goff. I can't, maybe I'm not a football expert that I can just five-head this and see into the future, but I don't know what their other option would be.
There's a lot of options.
The dude that backed him up, that was in the XFL or the AAF, whoever his backup was that had to get stretchered out, he didn't look bad, especially with, again, playing behind the Rams defense. He didn't look terrible. So that is probably a little bit more of an indictment on Goff.
Well, he got beat up.
He did. He got drilled. He did get drilled.
Stanford or something like that, or
yeah.
No, I think that the Rams are going to have to stick with him and then they just need to go out and find a couple more weapons on the offense to help them out. The defense is, like you said, it's a solid defense. So now they just got to go out. Now they're going to go out, hopefully, in the draft, and they'll pick up a couple guys that they need to pick up where they can help. I mean, I'm not sure. I think they need more of a running game, to be honest with you. That kind of killed them.
Yeah, no, it did. I mean, it did a little bit, but they just need, I don't know, but maybe they just need a lot more transcendent talent around Jared Goff to make him good. Because, again, I'm not sold on Jared Goff. I don't think I think he's one of those Matt Ryan quarterbacks. He'll show you some flashes every once in a while, but he's never going to be the guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl. You know,
he's mediocre consistent.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. He's just consistent. He's on a playing field where he's not going to rise up too high. He's not going to go too low. He's going to give you some mediocre. What do I want to say? Stats that are worthy of keeping him as the quarterback, but he's not going to be Tom Brady. He's not going to be a Breeze. He's not going to be a Mahomes by any chance. He's there.
He plays the game very smart as a quarterback.
Yes.
When you watch him in the pocket, his pocket presence in there to go down off his checkpoints and his reads and things like that, and reading the defensive end on a run on a play action, those things, that's what you want in a quarterback. Guys that can see that stuff. I don't think he's worth what they're paying him, but on the same note, he's what they've got. And right now they're not going to. So go get a receiver. If they need a receiver, go get another running back. Go look for a couple running backs. I don't know what they have for draft picks this year, but go trade up, or whatever, get a decent running back from someplace,
Right.
and bring them in, and then that's going to help your offense. The defense is solid. They were number one defense in the NFL.
Yeah. No,
So I mean, you don't have to really go and find stuff. You just need to find.
Obviously, we know defenses don't win the games.
Yeah, but the older parts, find the older parts that you got that are going to be going away, and replace those guys, and then go and get the components that you need on the offense to make him a better quarterback.
Right. No, I
give him a couple more weapons. And like I said, I only think he's got a decent line. He's got a very decent offensive line with Whitworth and all those guys. And I just think they need to go get a running back and a receiver. I hate saying that because they're NFC, but still.
No, I hear you. At this point, we're going to get into today in sports history before we go into our last article. Today's wow, here we go. Peak Lutz here. Today in sports history. Yeah. Today in sports. What happened, Hank? He did it today. I didn't listen today.
He got tongue tied again all day today.
Did he? That's funny. That's my cuz Pete, been in the business for 25 plus years in the radio biz. But anyway, today's sports history brought to you by or presented by Mr. Tom Greer, is brought to you by Chase Sports Complex. Now they are open. They are open on the inside. They have many batting cages. And we talked last week about them doing virtual batting practice, which I thought was pretty cool. And I think might be the first one in the air to do that. To give us a little bit more information, Hank, what are the hours and when can you go ahead?
No, we're open from Monday through Friday from 2:00 until 9:00, 9:30 at night, depending on who's in there. So you can call ahead and get a cage if you want to come in and do some cage field work.
What are your prices, Hank?
15 for a half and 30 for an hour.
That's not bad at all. That's great.
Nope.
That's great price.
And then it's with the machine, or you have somebody soft toss or whatever.
Right.
And then we're putting in the new spot down at the end where we're going to have the virtual stuff. And then we got the volleyball court. Today they've been putting we got all new lighting going in there.
Nice.
Doing some paint and touching it up. So I can't wait. We'll break some pictures. I know Brittany Sprague's been putting a lot of it together, and she's been putting pictures up, and every day she's putting something different up there. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. She's got to get me some pictures. We got to get the website updated with her. But
we do.
If you need more information and look at everything that Chase Sports has, go over to chasesportscomplex.com. Mr. Tom Greer, take it away.
Okay, so today in 1934, Kenesaw Mountain Landis denies Joe Jackson, a.k.a. Shoeless Joe Jackson's appeal for reinstatement into Major League Baseball. After the White Sox, the 1919 World Series scandal against the Cincinnati Reds, Jackson and several other White Sox players were accused of accepting $5,000 each to throw the World Series. And that's always been kind of disputed because Shoeless Joe always had some pretty record-breaking numbers. His 12 base hits to set a series record wasn't broken until, again, 1964. He led the team in batting average with batting 375, committed no errors. He threw a runner out at the plate. They said that he was getting a couple extra triples were getting hit to his position, so that's why they thought he might have been a little fishy. But years later, players came out and said that Shoeless Joe wasn't even at any of the meetings, and that they just really couldn't explain where his $5,000 came from. But so that was kind of crazy that Shoeless Joe still not
back somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, Shoeless Joe's still part of the Black Sox scandal, not into the Baseball Hall of Fame, blackballed from baseball.
Maybe it was the unheard of Nike sponsorship back then.
Yeah, maybe it might have been. 1963 Australian Championship men's tennis. Roy Emerson wins his first of 5 straight Australian titles, beats countryman Ken Fletcher 6-3, 6-3, 6-1. 1972, Sandy Koufax, Yogi Berra, and Earl Wynn get elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. This is Baseball Hall of Fame season because in 1977, Ernie Banks got in, which is absolutely awesome. 2000, Michael Jordan, who led the Chicago Bulls to 6 straight NBA championships as a player, returns to the NBA, joining the Washington Wizards as part owner and president of basketball operations. What's unfortunate is this is how I remember Michael Jordan. Like I was born in 92. So I caught the tail. Like by the time I knew what sports was, I caught the tail end of Michael Jordan. I mostly remember him as a Wizard, which is very unfortunate. Last one, 2013.
Do you remember him as a White Sox?
Yeah,
that was even worse, I think.
Definitely don't. 2013, Lance Armstrong admits to doping in all 7 Tour de France victories, which is a big yikes on the sports world. Let's say sports history though.
It's funny that somebody that you looked up to and honored, even if I didn't. I mean, I looked up to Lance just for his achievements, especially, and obviously, I mean, I ride mountain bikes, but I'm not even close to being at the competition level that he's doing a road bike. And then to come to find out, blood doping, I'm like, damn, it kind of sucks. It kind of puts you, I guess, in a new light of like, all right, what are my heroes or what the people I'm looking up to? What are they really doing, and what did they not get caught doing?
Dude, I mean, I grew up in the middle of the steroid era in baseball. Like all I did was worry if my childhood heroes were going to come out to be cheats in baseball, like
McGuire.
Yeah, I was not a McGuire fan. Like I said, I was the one fighting for Mike. I was fighting for Mike Piazza because everybody was saying Mike Piazza was juicing, and no tests came back. Nothing. Never.
Before we get into the last article, speaking of heroes and athletes, I feel this way, and this is a very controversial topic. Listen, if you want to do steroids, make them fucking legal. Then everybody does it. And if you want to take the repercussions and your health issues and do whatever, put it out there, make it a level playing field. Just do it. That's how I feel. If you're going to do it, we'll make it offered for everyone, whether it's going to hurt your body or not. But that's your choice. You've made that choice. Stop trying to hide it, because there's still people doing it. I mean, it's been in wrestling, WWF, WWE. It's been in the NFL. People aren't getting caught, but you know what? I understand how players feel too, because they feel that they need to be competitive. And I know some players have stated like, we want to entertain the fans. We want to give them a good game. Well, if that's the case, then legalize it and let them go. I mean, regulate it and just let them go.
But here's my devil's advocate to that. What do you say to the kids that are growing up watching these people that are seeing these guys are larger than life? Like, what about the kid that grew up like my age, that grew up idolizing Barry Bonds, wanting to be Barry Bonds, and then realizing that the way Bonds got to where he was at some point, like, everybody could argue that he was a Hall of Famer before he did steroids, but when he did steroids, it still put him over the top.
Steroids doesn't make you a great athlete. Steroids make you stronger. That's just because you take steroids doesn't mean you're going to be a better baseball player.
I understand that, but when you have all of these heroes that you look up to regularly, and you're saying, this is what, like, the guy that I looked up to my entire life did this to get to where he is. Why is it wrong that I do it? Like, do you want to send that message to a bunch of the kids growing up that it might be a good idea to do roids?
I don't disagree with you. I make an age restriction. At 21 or older, you make that choice whether or not you want to do steroids or not. You have to have talent. I'm just saying that's how I feel. I mean, I'm not pro steroids. I'm just saying if it's going to be an issue, just level out the playing field. Let them all have it. You all know how it's going to be. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't affect everybody the same way. Some people don't get affected badly by steroids. They don't have the side effects. Make the playing field level then at that point. And again, how much better would it be that if it's the Bonds or the McGuires or whatever taking steroids, and then let's say you got somebody coming out there with no steroids and he's just killing it. I would want to be that guy. I'm like, I choose not to. And I'm still the home run king. I'm still, stealing bases. Again, yes, I understand the children aspect and looking up, but kids are not like they are back in the day. And I think they're not as stupid. They know what's going on. And I'm not saying I'm still condoning that, but I just feel I would say just put it out there, legalize it, put it on the playing field, regulate it at a certain age. And this is what you do. You regulate how many times they can take it. They don't overdose. They don't do any of this shit, and just let it go. I mean, again, I would not do that. I would not be the one to take
there's just so many different things out there now besides steroids that they're taking.
Oh yeah.
There's all this stuff. I mean, a lot of this stuff they say is done by the FDA and stuff, but you look at some of this energy stuff that these guys are drinking. F4 or whatever the hell they call it. I got all this stuff. I mean, I got guys on the team that have taken it, and I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, holy shit, he looks like a crazy lunatic because he's got his energy levels just so far up. And I'm like,
cracking a bottle.
That can't be good. Well, that's what they're telling you. They're telling you, they ask it. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? Did you do steroids? Have you taken any energy, enhancement drinks while you were lifting and all that stuff? And I'm like going, no, because it's like, I laugh at him. I go, does this body look like it does steroids really? And I'm just going, no. And I mean, like back in the day when when I was in high school, they had, the robin eggs and stuff like that, the black beauties and stuff that people were taking. All that was an energy pill. That's all it was. You could buy them in the freaking magazine, for Christ's sakes. Right. And kids were taking these black beauties, and they're going and they're taking them. And they're like, whoa, yeah, I'm all right. And they're calling it. this, that, and everything else. But now you can go into Stewart's and get a 5-hour energy. It's the same thing.
Right.
If you look at it, or a B12 shot. People were getting, B12 shots in their ass, and I'm standing there going, yeah, I don't need that. That's just not my thing. And you're right. Kids are smarter, but there are kids right now. I mean, I can tell you, there's kids in there that do this stuff and they get caught, and then they're going to another school and whatever else. But it's like you said, legalizing it. But at what point do you just say, okay, well, we'll just get rid of all the rules? If you're going to do this, this, and this to get the edge, but they have rules, and that's the thing. Follow the rules that each league. You want to get there, you got to follow the rules. You got to play by the book.
Right. Well, we'll see. We all know a lot of people don't play by the book, but if you made the rules and regulate them, that could be the new book. Neither here nor there.
Herb, I ultimately I think you're like I do kind of agree with you. Like it's going to be done in the league regardless. Like whether or not this is an illegal thing, you're going to have people using performance enhancing drugs. I mean, I think you have to kind of I don't know how you weigh what is a good one and what is a bad one. Like I think that you need to be a little more open about it because again, it's going to be there. Like this stuff is going to happen. So. Maybe that's a way to police it. I don't know, but it's a weird subject. It's a really weird thing to try to.
So, for instance, like Tom just touched on. So, you've got the White Sox. You got everybody that took $5,000, and then Shoeless Joe Jackson didn't take the money, but yet there was money that got in there. Now you watch, like he said, I've read a lot of the books on the White Sox and stuff like that. So, he didn't take any money. He didn't do anything wrong in that game. So now you take the whole thing with steroids. You got guys that are doing things that are taking edge. And you got that one guy, Mike Piazza, that didn't do anything, didn't take anything, took all the tests, but he's still scrutinized because he was that era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Like you said, if you legalize it, it's like you can take marijuana for medicinal purposes, but now you can't do it. Well, now there's states that are starting to legalize it. Right. But there are states that don't legalize it. So if you smoke it here, it may not be when you go there. Right. It's not legal there, and you get caught with it, you're going to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something across the board, and it's got to be something. And unfortunately, the United States government does not dictate what each league does.
No,
the leagues are the ones that make the rules.
Yeah.
You can't get a presidential pardon right now. Like Trump's not up there right now writing a presidential pardon saying, "Hey, Shoeless Joe Jackson's going to get into the." Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
That would be funny.
That would be funny.
They've tried it for years. Now it's like, okay, listen, the documents are there, the proof's out there. It's been out there for over, what was it, 19? When did he get? What year was that?
That was the 1919 World Series.
So over 100 years ago. And now you've got all the information, the stats are out there. Everything else. We're supposed to be smarter people. Why couldn't we sit there and look at it and go, hey, you know what? This guy didn't do anything wrong. We're watching the game film. He played it 100%, but yet there's that put him in.
Yeah.
Right. I hear you.
I agree.
Well, we'll see what happens.
It's an era thing, just like the quarterbacks.
No, totally. This is an era-themed episode.
Definitely. Speaking of quarterbacks and weapons, Kansas City's head coach Andy Reid had his usual Monday press conference during which he provided a brief update on the status of quarterback Mr. Patrick Mahomes. He confirmed that Mahomes is in fact in the NFL's concussion protocol, and is going through the steps necessary to return. When asked to give his thoughts on whether or not Mahomes would be able to play in the AFC Championship game against the Buffalo Bills, Reid was pretty much non-committal either way. Pretty much he said, so listen, I just leave that Rick and the docs because Jesus, that doesn't make any sense. That does not make any sense how that road. I just have left with Rick and the docs because of the protocol. It's a no-brainer from the coach's standpoint. You don't have to think about it. Just have to make sure you go forward and have an answer if he's there and an answer if he's not there. I can't tell you from a medical standpoint where he's at. I don't know that. That's their decision, and I just follow it. Right now, it appears that Chiefs are preparing for both the best case and worst case scenarios with Mahomes. The decision to play Mahomes is entirely out of the hands of the coaching staff until he clears the protocol. So it's best to be prepared for any possibility. Footnote to Mahomes' concussion on Sunday was an apparent toe injury suffered earlier in the game. Reid had a positive update on that injury, and that's why he was kind of hopping around before then. which could have led to his concussion and what happened. We'll find out more about Mahomes and the status at the practice week as the practice week progresses. Keep an eye on the status come Wednesday when the Chiefs hit the practice field with the first time ahead of the AFC Championship game. We did kind of really talk about this already in the beginning a little bit, so we won't probably go too deep in this, but this could be a big game changer for them. And with Mahomes' backup, some big shoes to fill for this particular gentleman. Tom, what are your thoughts on this?
Some Shaq size shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a toss up. It's between Pat Mahomes playing and the Chiefs having a chance, and Chad Henne playing and the Chiefs having zero chance. I mean, like, I guess I can't say zero because their defense isn't that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
Right.
I don't know. They got a lot riding on this concussion protocol because I think I said earlier, I saw on Twitter that Mahomes passed some of the tests, like at least some preliminary tests that they have to run. But if for some reason he can't go on Sunday, I have zero confidence that Chad Henne and the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills. Zero.
So my question is, because there's so much riding on this, do you think there'll be some foul play and where he passed
do I think
test?
the NFL is going to be fishy? Oh yeah, I absolutely do. Yeah, no. 100%.
Here's a couple $100. Mahomes passed that test, right? Wink, wink. Right?
Yep.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
right.
yeah. There's going to be a team doctor with a little bit of a pay bump by the end of the week.
He got $5,000.
Yeah, but can you imagine if he goes out there and gets hit again and it's worse?
Oh,
yeah, that'd be bad.
And they find out stuff like that. Now you're talking.
Well, this is the thing, though. So this is the thing. Now, obviously, Mahomes wants to play. I think if I was Mahomes and yes, the protocol, whatever, I want to play. I want to prove myself. This is my first time. I'm going right into the Super Bowl. I'm the best quarterback in the NFL this year. I want to play. So if somebody said to me, hey, you passed that test, what do you think you're going to say? You're going to say yes. Now,
but it's not up to him.
I understand that, but I'm saying if he passed the test, what I'm saying is he said yes, and that it's kind of put under the rug kind of deal. Now, obviously, if he gets hurt, my question is now the team, the owners, the coach aren't looking out for their players. They're looking for a win. And that's where the defining line is for me, where I'm like, all right, you don't have to ask. Mahomes would play today. You know damn well he would probably try to get on that field and play today because he's a football player. He's got an ego, and that's what he does. He's a professional.
Yeah.
It's up to the owners and obviously yes, the protocol, but I know there's going to be some kind of kickback or something coming around going, are you sure he didn't pass that test? Are you sure I don't have enough money to say that he passed that test?
I mean, have you guys ever taken a concussion protocol test?
No.
I've never have, but I've had
my dad stick me in a dark closet and shine a flashlight in my face to see if my
but that's not so the concussion protocol test.
That's different. That's different, Tom, because you put the lotion in the basket afterward. That's a whole different test.
It's all based off of memory and how you answer questions.
Right.
So like the ones that we have around here that they use for like the schools and stuff like that, we use them. I tried to get it set up so that the Green Jackets would use it. Is that it's all memory. So you go in before anything and before the game. You're supposed to do it before the season, and you go in and you answer certain questions. It's things that you're supposed to be able to pick up and answer quickly, and then it's based off of how you answer those. So if they sit there and say, if you're out on a dinner date and things like that, what's the first thing you're going to order? I mean, they don't ask the high school kids that, but it's things like that. There's questions on there that they'll ask.
Hank, is it kind of like who's the president? What day of the week is it? Kind of stuff like current time frame as well.
They ask you when they're picking you up off the ground and your legs are wobbling, or you're going, you know where you're at? Yeah, I'm watching the movie.
Right, I know.
Red Knobs and Broomsticks or something.
Right.
And okay,
that was a random pick.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm on cloud 9 right now, but that's the thing. It's like, so I think he's going to pass the protocol. You're right. Football players want to be on the football field. Yeah. I've had a couple bell ringers and things like that, and I know friends of mine that have had bell rings, and I've seen some that were really nasty where they get hit and they go into convulsions because they're sitting there on the ground. I mean, that was probably one of the scariest moments. I've watched one of my.
I think too the gear has changed. The helmet protocols and the padding that's obviously elevated as well. And we just talked earlier that nobody's hitting like they used to hit back in the day.
Well, I think they hit like I think there's arguments that the equipment's actually what made it worse because like people just feel like that they have this suit of armor on and are willing to throw their bodies around with reckless abandon because they have the shoulder pads, they have the helmet. It just innately gives you this ability to think, oh wow, this is gonna keep me safe when it's still bad. You know, like that's why I think you still see less injuries in like rugby than you do in the NFL.
And
because,
there's no padding there.
Those
Nothing. Boys don't. Those guys don't screw it down. They don't screw around. I mean,
you take a helmet. You take a helmet off of an NFL player, and I bet you he ain't leading with his head anymore.
No, but listen. Well, you got to talk to a rugby player because they'll tell you differently.
That's
rugby
fair.
guys, they don't give a shit if their helmets are not in there. I mean, and I've seen guys that lost their helmet in a game and still went in to make the tackle. There's been a few of them. In the NFL.
What I'm saying is no, but I'm not saying that you wouldn't go into a tackle. But I'm saying if you take a helmet off of a player, I feel like he'd be a little bit more conscious in how he performs the tackle.
Right.
Like he's
going to have players right now that don't even have knee pads on.
Yeah,
you got players that you look at them, their freaking pants are rolled up to their freaking cat or to the above their knees, and they got no knee pads on. And then I'm like going, so you got a knee injury? How? I mean, we used to wear knee pads, hip pad. I mean, the padding. It's to make you faster. I mean, the helmets. I mean, you put a helmet on that I wore back 20 years ago to a helmet now. I'm like, man, these things are like Cadillacs. When you put that on there, you're like, oh man, is there a movie in this thing? You're like, yeah. Oh, then they get the visors. You're like, oh wow, I can. It's like I can see that. It's so different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
your helmets were. Yeah, I know, Hank. Your helmets were pigskin. I know.
No, my helmets weren't pigskin. That's if Pete Cloutier had played football back in the day.
Yeah, right.
No, these things. I mean, we had the bikes. I mean, I have a picture somewhere of the bike helmets that we wore for football that were made by the company Bike, and they've got the tubes that go around, and you could literally take it out of the helmet and set it on your head. You can't do that with this stuff. Now it's all, let's put it here, let's put it there. You know, there's like little cones. So when you hit, your head in an impact, it's because your head goes to a spot and then stops, and everything inside of it doesn't.
Right.
So if you got your brain,
your brain is still moving when your head stops.
Right. Yeah. And that's what causes a concussion. Is that you're bruising the brain.
Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I would not. Either way, I think Mahomes. I'll be shocked if Mahomes does not hit the field. I'm sure Kansas City wants him to play. Like I said, I think he wants to play.
The NFL wants him to play because the NFL doesn't want to see Chad Henne, 13-year veteran who hasn't really been good since he got into the league, take the Kansas City Chiefs, the ex-champs, against the Bills. Like they don't. The NFL doesn't want that.
No,
but if that game. But here's the thing: if the Chiefs now had played the Raiders of back in the 70s,
oh Jesus,
Lyle Alzado would be sitting there going, oh, where's this Mahomes kid? He got his bell rung when? I'm going to ring his bell. And I don't care if the freaking play is blown dead. Here comes Lyle Alzado.
Oh, yeah.
15-yard penalty for a late hit. And he's going to ring his bell.
The dirtiest team in NFL history.
Oh, listen, Alzado and I mean, Ray Nitschke, all those guys. I mean, it's well before Tom's time. But, you watch those guys hit. And that's exactly what they do. I'd take the 15-yard penalty.
Those guys were the original WWF. I've seen clotheslines come out on the field watching Raiders games like that. Like we talk about Cartwright with the elbows and whatnot in the NBA back in the day. These guys had there's no penalties. I mean, you're getting clotheslines. I mean, you're getting jabbed hard. I mean, it was crazy. But we'll see what happens. I think Tom, you were right. The NFL does want this. There's too much money in there, but it kind of makes you wonder, do they have the players' best interest at heart? Sometimes I don't think they do. Look at the injuries we've had throughout the years. And again, it's the player's choice too. But again, sometimes the players aren't the smartest. I would, if I was Mahomes, I buy, even if I didn't pass the test, I'm fine. I want to go. But again, use better judgment. But again, there's so much money in the NFL. It is a business.
That's why it comes out of the concussion protocol, because you can't trust teams, you can't trust coaches, you can't trust the players. It comes down to the concussion
people
protocol
off. No matter what protocols are.
You got to protect the players, because the NFL's been hit with so many lawsuits of former players having their like concussion issues or their brain injuries, and like the NFL doesn't want that anymore. And especially since the Chiefs probably don't even want that because of how long this contract is for Pat Mahomes. Like, what happens if he doesn't pass concussion protocols, gets onto the field, and then gets his bell rung and he's not the same quarterback again? So yeah,
I hear
you're going for a Super Bowl win, but you also got to take care of Pat Mahomes long term.
with a 12-year contract.
And they haven't even come out and said what grade it was. They didn't. I mean, nobody has said what grade level his concussion was at. So that's even more nerve-wracking to the point. I mean, if you're a Kansas City fan, you're like sitting there going, and if you're a football guy, you're going, well, why didn't they come out and say what level grade he was if he had a concussion? And I got news for you. Whatever he did, if it was a concussion or whatever, his legs were out from underneath him. 3 guys picked him up off the freaking.
Oh, yeah. He looked like a newborn baby deer.
Oh, he was like, whoa, how do I work these things?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like Bandy.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's Sports Edition. Gentlemen, again, give me your picks for this weekend's games. Who, Tom?
Why do we got to keep doing this with Tom? Tom's just going to say the same thing over and over again.
You get to do it too, Hank. You get to do it too, Hank. Relax. You get your time. Tom, your picks?
Bucks, Bills, Super Bowl. Here we go.
Okay. Before we get to Hank, do you think any of the games will be a blowout, or do we think it's going to be won by a field goal?
No, I think they're going to be closer games. I don't think we're going to see a blowout.
Hank?
Packers, Bills.
Okay, I'm going Kansas City and Packers.
There you go.
There we go. So
dare to be different.
Yes, dare to be different. Well, I have a bet. I do have a bet. I do have a bet going with one of our listeners. So you're probably going to be right. You're probably going to end up being right, Herb. He said Kansas City Packers, and then he picked Kansas City, and I picked the Pack.
But can you imagine that? That's going to be Super Bowl 1 all over again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That'd be crazy.
That's money right there. People are going to watch that.
The marketing that's going to be coming off of that. I mean,
that'd be crazy.
We're going to have to have a Super Bowl one. We're going to have a Super Bowl show.
Yes, we can do a Super Bowl show.
We could definitely do a Super Bowl show.
You know what? If you live locally, Tom, I'd sanitize the place and I'd put it on the big screen here. We could watch the Super Bowl in the studio while commentating live. That would be cool.
Oh, that'd be very cool.
There will be no live cameras during game time, though, in my house during a Packers game, because that is hilarious. My dog is like trying to figure out where to go and hide so that it can't hear me yelling.
Well, thank God thank God there's no FCC here, so you could say whatever you want.
Oh, listen, I got news for you. The FCC would be blushing if they heard the stuff that came out of my mouth when I'm yelling.
My God.
What the is he thinking?
Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Join us again next Tuesday, but I will be back tomorrow with a special guest. I always screw up Kim's last name. Tom?
Adragna.
Adragna. Okay. Like Dragnet. Okay. Adragna. I got it. Okay. Kim Adragna from Grindhouse Radio. She's going to be my special co-host for tomorrow. She was on episode 6 or 7 way back in March and April when we first started this, but she'll be back joining me then Thursday I'll be solo. Friday will be the Pop Culture Edition with Louis Perry. And again, next Tuesday, see you next Tuesday. I will be back with the boys and we'll talk about who got our predictions. Wouldn't it be funny if none of us got them right?
That'd be funny.
No, that would be funny.
Well, I don't think yeah, I guess so. I guess there's a combination we can get to. It's like Bucks Chiefs.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I'm not watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, shut up. You will too.
Brady,
anyway.
You don't want to watch Brady versus Mahomes like 3 or 4?
Listen, when your wife serves you pigs in a blanket, you're turning the goddamn TV on. I know, Hank.
Yeah, we don't get pigs in a blanket. I make my cocktail weenies.
I don't want to know about your personal life. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
We all want to win championships. We all want to be the best. We all want it to be our time. But the difference between imagining the future and being the future is what you do to get there. Only you can make you better.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.